I've been getting a lot of requests to talk about my favorite Final Fantasy games. I've narrowed it down to 5 games. And remember guys, these are my personal picks, so I'm not saying they're the best Final Fantasy games in the series, just my favorites. If you guys like my list, let's get into it. So first up is Final Fantasy III. More specifically, Final Fantasy III Remake, which came out on Nintendo DS, PSP, and PC. I really like Final Fantasy III for its simplicity. The story, the villains, the character motivations, everything's very simple and easy to understand, which is usually a complaint with Final Fantasy stories. The strongest part about Final Fantasy III is its gameplay, more specifically the job system, how you can equip every party member with a different job and really mix up the gameplay a lot. Also, you can customize the characters a whole lot with dual wielding weapons and having a shield in one hand and a sword in the other, or like a staff in one hand and a shield in the other. It's really cool. Also, my favorite character is Ark. He's really cute. Final Fantasy XII. The first Final Fantasy game to really drastically change the combat system. It was no longer turn-based. Well, it is turn-based, but you freely control your character's movement. It uses this system called the Gambit system, where you could set up what your party members do automatically. The game boils down to moving into strategic positions, moving your party members together, and then waiting for your gambits to come into play. I really like this game because of the combat. I love the characters, besides Vaughn and Penelo. Kind of feels like they could have just got cut out of the game completely, but I still like them. The story feels more mature than past Final Fantasy games, even though earlier games definitely did deal with mature subject matter, but there's just something about FF12 that makes it feel more like a mature film story rather than like a video game story. So yeah, I really enjoyed FF12, and my favorite character is Fran, because she's so cool, and she's really tall, and she's a bunny. So yeah, I like Fran. Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy XIII. Lightning Returns is an open-world, real-time action RPG, and is the third and final game in the Lightning Saga. This game uses the Schemata system, which is similar to the classic job system of older FF games. During combat, you switch between 3 different outfits which all have their own abilities, like Black Mage, Red Mage, and White Mage, for example, or even Dragoon, or Dark Knight. This game has a lot of outfits based on classic jobs from the older Final Fantasy games. The story for this game is much darker compared to the other games in the Lightning Saga. A lot of really interesting things happen between Lightning, Snow, Sarah, and Hope. One thing that might steer people away from this game is its time limit. You have 13 days to save as many souls as you can before the world comes to an end. I know time limits in games could usually get really annoying, but I actually like games where you only have a few days to finish the main quest line. For me, it keeps the tension building in the story and keeps you on your feet at all times. You really can't make a mistake. Also, if you just want to have fun, you could always ignore the timer and let the world end. You monster. I find myself still playing this game every once in a while. I really enjoy the combat and the freedom to explore whenever you want. Also, my favorite garb that Lightning wears in the game is the Red Mage. She looks so stylish and handsome. Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII has one of the best intros in video game history. The first time I ever saw it, I thought my PlayStation was frozen or something. I was really confused. They show the stars for like 15 minutes, but then it gives you a really great shot of Aeris. At that moment, I was like, this game is going to be special. FF7 has a complicated story, which at times can be very dark and other times very funny. I think we all know which cross-dressing scene I'm talking about. The game has some really great translation errors. You guys remember when Aerith said, "This guy are sick," or when Tifa called Barret a retard? That's very mean, Tifa. The materia system is very cool and offers a lot of customization options for combat. I also really enjoyed Advent Children, which was the movie that came after Final Fantasy VII. Honestly, I don't have much more to say about Final Fantasy VII that hasn't already been said. All I could say is that I really, really like it, and I could play it pretty much any time. I really enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Oh yeah, and my favorite character in Final Fantasy VII has to be Sephiroth. He's so sexy. Final Fantasy X. Final Fantasy X uses the most basic form of turn-based gameplay, There is no ATB system in this game, so you have plenty of time to think about your strategies and your enemy's weaknesses. There's also no job system in this game. Instead, each party member has their own distinct role to play. During combat, you could even switch party members on the fly. This was the first Final Fantasy I played all the way through on my own, so it holds a special place in my heart. On your first playthrough, the story may seem very confusing. I know it was for me when I was younger. This was the first Final Fantasy to have voice acting, and many fans call it bad. In certain scenes, I would agree. Even though the voiceover can be awkward at times, and I mean really awkward, I still love it. I love the memes that have come out of this game. Tidus's laugh, all the butt shots, the fact that Yuna sounds very confused for most of the game. It gives the game this like weird sort of charm, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way. Besides all the awkwardness in the storytelling, the actual story is pretty good. This game also spawned its own sequel, Final Fantasy X-2, which gave birth to a few more awkward moments. My favorite character in Final Fantasy X is Lulu. I've always liked black mages, and Lulu's attitude is perfect. She's strong, she's confident, she's smart, she puts people in their place when they're out of line. I really like Lulu. Also, them titties. So guys, I hope you enjoyed my video, and I hope it was informative, and you kind of understand why I like these Final Fantasy games. Please consider subscribing to my channel. I plan on uploading more content in the future, Final Fantasy related and other RPG related games. See you next time, guys. Bye!